Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I gotta answer and ask the Nick question. That's just a beautiful question. Comes from a guy named Ian Snyder, longtime commenter. Nick, I've been watching your reviews for a long time now, and maybe it's just me, but it's hard to believe you've ever been more than tentatively happy with a knife or piece of gear. Has there ever been a 100% bad-free, ugly-free gem? I just have to hold out hope for that possibility because the alternative is just unfortunate. That's a great question, Ian, so let's go into it. Yeah, of course, there's lots of gear that I'm really happy with. I mean, things like the Chris Reeve tie lock or the Sleesh Bowie, both of which are on loan at the moment, the Greavesmo Norseman, the Spyderco Delica, the Casio Oceanus, Coeco Lilliput, a whole bunch of other... No, Z Hunter, I'm sorry, not you. But nonetheless, they are all wonderful pieces with way more good and great than bad than ugly. I mean, these are things that do bring me joy on a regular basis. I'm not just saying that. There is legitimately joy here. I love the Delica. I love the Norseman. These are spectacular. Yet at the same time, I can acknowledge that there's bad and ugly here. The thing is, though, underlying that question is the assumption that in order to be happy with something, there can't be any bad or ugly, and to me, that's just not true. There is zero saying that bad and ugly can't be acknowledged, while at the still same time saying, this makes me happy, this brings me joy. Because there's always something wrong. If you look at any piece of gear, you look at any situation, any event, any human for that matter, there's always nitpicks, and sometimes there's really flaming blatant ugly. But the thing is, happiness is not about the external force. It's not about the knife, the gear, the watch, whatever. Happiness is about you. It's about how you react to the world. It's the process of deciding, you know what? Yeah, the Norseman could be a little bit smaller. And yeah, the Delica, this needs a finger choil, but you know what? It's okay. I'm still going to be happy. It's an internal process, and it has very little to do with the external world. And similarly, I think love is like this in a romantic sense, because, okay. Real world example. God knows I have got way more than my share of ugly. I got more issues than National Geographic, more baggage than United Airlines, and... oh boy, it's a trip. I'm working on it, rest assured. Getting help, but nonetheless, the fiancé comes home. She still loves me, or at least she does a good convincing job of claiming it. And I'm really grateful for that. She helps me to work through my bad and ugly. She sees it just as I see hers. And, that's a part of the relationship, that interplay and that desire to improve things. And so please, don't think that bad and ugly mean I can't like it or it can't make me happy. Instead, bad and ugly are just something that you need to kind of keep in mind as you're making those adjustments. Okay, Z Hunter, I guess, sure, you can come in the frame. So, yeah, bad and ugly is not about the thing. I'm sorry, happiness is not about the thing. It's about your reaction to the thing. But I hear the next question coming. This kind of gets at another question that I think they're related here. If you can be happy with these things, why be so critical? Why do you find all these nitpicks? Why do you hunt down the bad and the ugly rather than just saying, you know what, it's great? Well, the reason I'm so critical is because, honestly, I'm trying to be helpful. And this is probably part of my, due to my background in the scientific world. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say I wrote a paper. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I got it as perfect as I can get it. And I hand it to two colleagues to take a look. One of my colleagues just writes, perfect paper, A+ at the top, and that's it. The other colleague writes a great paper at the top and then gives me 15 pages of nitpicks and criticism and constructive criticism. Guess who I'm going to like a lot more? Honestly, for me, I'm going to prefer the person who gave me the feedback. Because even if the paper was already basically perfect, like the first one said, there is always room to improve. And by getting a different perspective on the matter and a different critical perspective, I can learn something. Maybe I consider the feedback and make broad changes like, oh, wow, yeah, I need to fix this whole damn thing. Maybe I realize, oh, wait, that sentence is way better when I make that change, and I just make the change. Maybe I realize, oh, well, she's wrong here, but that's a really common mistake. I should fix it so that other people don't go down that path. Or maybe I just look at a comment and say, okay, you're on crack. And I completely ignore that comment because they just completely miss something. But nonetheless, by hearing those critiques of my work, I can see my work through another set of eyes and I can make it better still. Even if it was already great, it can be better. And this has been kind of a theme throughout my life. Looking back, the instructors, colleagues, professors, even the friends I value most are not the great job A plus say no more people. And they're certainly not the ones who just tore at me because they hate themselves. That's a whole different affair. The ones who I look back on with the most fondness are the ones who helped me most. And those are the ones who call me on my crap and who give the criticism, who acknowledge the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly, and give a fair conclusion from their perspective that I can use to improve what it is that I'm doing. And so, as a student, a scientist, or just frankly, just a human, constructive criticism is one of the very best ways to learn and grow. So, I try to provide it to my colleagues, my students, my friends, and elsewhere, and I carry this into my reviews, absolutely. Because I do love talking about the good and the great. And nothing brings me joy than a review where I've got nothing negative to say except a couple of nitpicks. But, I'll admit it's absolutely a little presumptuous to think that I can teach a 24/7 knife maker about knife design. But the thing is, I am bringing a different perspective as a user and as an enthusiast. And if I'm off base or I don't understand something, they can ignore me, or better still, let me know why I'm wrong in the comments. But the thing is, even where a knife is a gem, a beautiful thing, and something that truly does make me happy and bring me joy, I'm still going to try and find a few places where there's room for improvement, both for my viewers who are considering the purchase, because maybe it doesn't matter much to me, but it would to them, and perhaps for the maker who might be working on the next big thing and might make some changes that could improve it as a result of my feedback. And you, just like the makers, need to decide whether a given criticism that I make is actually meaningful in your life and for your purchase. So, in summary, I am absolutely happy with a lot of the gear in my life, even if my eyes wander. Even if I'm loving this watch, I'm still looking for the next one. That's the nature of being a reviewer and the nature of being kind of well, I have a problem. Let's just put it that way. Second, happiness, of course, comes from within, and the bad and the ugly is not a reason why you can't be truly happy with something being in your life. And then finally, the criticality that you see in my channel comes not just from spite, although there are times where I'm a little spiteful, I'll admit that, but mostly it comes from a deep desire to help, both you as my viewers who come to my channel for help in making decisions, and for the makers themselves who might want to, well, improve their game next time around. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but that's why I'm doing it. That's a really great question, though, and thank you for asking it. Hope this has been interesting, and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful and very, very happy rest of your day. Bye now.